Time flies. RedmiBook Pro 15 released 1 year ago is now upgraded. I have a brand new 2022 edition here with i7 12650H and RTX 2050. That's huge progress from 4-core and MX450. So, how does it perform with new thermals and specs? You will find out in this video. Let's go through the specs. 12th Gen Intel Core Laptop. i7 12650H 10 cores 16 threads. NVIDIA's entry ray tracing GPU RTX 2050, 60 watts. 16 gigs dual channel RAM, 5200 MHz. Bison SSD, 512 gigs, PCIe Gen 4. It has a 3200 by 2000 screen with 90Hz 100% sRGB and IPS panel. Brightness is 400 nits. Price is on screen. 2022 edition's exterior is not too different from last year. CNC body looks great. I/O changed a lot. There are Thunderbolt 4, HDMI and combo jack, USB-A, USB-C and SD card reader. Power has to take up one port. You'll need a dock for external device. This US2 card is 250 megs per second, which is good for editing. It is 15.2 to 17.8 millimeters thick, and weighs 1.79 kilos. Due to the increase of power, it now has a 484-gram 130-watt 3-prong adapter. Okay, move on to test section. RedmiBook Pro 15 2022 has the same IPS screen with 3200 by 2090 Hz, 100% sRGB nominal gamut, 95.8% sRGB volume, and 95.7% sRGB coverage. The average delta-E is 0.82, max is 2.73. Max brightness is 449.6 nits. BTW response is 18.66 milliseconds. GTG 29.07 ms. This screen is outstanding in the same price range. This year, its brightness and average delta-E are well tuned. Nominal delta-E is less than 1.5. This is the first time we test this Intel 12th Gen Mobile H45, i7 12650H model. Intel 7 process, 6P, 4E, 16 threads. P-Core Max Single Core 4.7 GHz, All-Core 4.1 GHz. E-Core Max Single Core 3.5 GHz, All-Core 3.3 GHz. L3 cache 24 MB. In 15 rounds of R20, first round reached 5,346, later was around 5,100. i7 12650H reached 87 watts in first round, then dropped to 60. Later rounds reached 65 at the beginning, then dropped to 56. P-Core was around 3.4 GHz, E-Core 2.8 GHz. R20 single thread scored 691. Also, we did a fixed power test on this processor. In 45 watts, R20 multi-thread scored 4,389. In 25W, R20 scored 3,227. The performance is much better than last general. Then let's check out this new graphics, RTX 2050. It uses Georgia 107S core, 2048 CUDA. GDDR6 VRAM, 4 GB. Bitwidth is cut, only 64-bit, equals to 14 gigabits per second VRAM bandwidth. This RTX 2050 has 45 watts basic power and 15 watts dynamic boost. 3D Mark Time SPI score was 3,993, FSE 4,846, Classroom 2,196. Let's test it through content creation and games. For Adobe software, Photoshop score was 937, A833, PR 644. 12650H's single core is as good as 12700H, so their PSNA results are close. But its PR is lower. On the one hand, 4 gigs VRAM is not enough for high-resolution video editing. On the other hand, i7 12650H's iGPU has one less codec engine than i7 12700H in video decode and replay. The performance will be worse. DOTA 2 replay in highest settings got 67.7 FPS. CSGO 197.4 FPS. Apex 44.9 FPS. Even in mainstream online games, 3 Kelvin's resolution is too much for 2050. In 1080p DOTA2 reach 144 FPS, CSGO 403.8 FPS, Apex 111.2 FPS. Much smoother. Same goes for 3A games, FPS will increase a lot in 1080p. 3A games are too heavy for this laptop. Next is disassembly. Remove all the screws to uncover the bottom case with a suction cup. The interior changed a lot. Battery on the bottom, 72 watt-hours. In PCMark 10 modern office battery life is 7 hours 43 minutes. LPDDR5 16 gigs 5200 MHz irreplaceable memory. Benchmark is on screen. The bandwidth is higher than DDR5 4800 MHz, but latency is average. SSD is next to memory 512 gigs. I've never seen this Phison model before. Should be a customized edition with PCIe Gen 4. The speed dropped during benchmark. This is an engineering prototype, with no thermal pad, so I guess the decrease was because of heat, and it dropped to 100 megs per second after the cache ran short, which is bad for read, write of large files. Cooling module comes with dual fans and 3 heat pipes, 2 pipes for CPU and GPU, and 1 for power supply. Let's test its thermal performance. In stress FPU, i7 12650H was at 96 degrees. Package 55.8 watts, IA 54.6 watts. In stress GPU, RTX 2050 was at 63.7 degrees, 49 watts, 1740 MHz. Turn off anti-aliasing and it was at 68.5 degrees, 60 watts, 1612 MHz. In dual stress test, CPU was at 87 degrees. Package 35 watts, IA 33.7 watts. GPU was at 74.3 degrees, 45 watts, 1597 MHz. Fan noise reached 51.3 dB. The hottest keycap was at 48.6 degrees. RedmiBook Pro 15 2022 has good performance. 55 watts in single stress test, 35 plus 45 watts in dual, much better than last year. For a 15.2 to 17.8 mm thick laptop, this is the best for its chassis. After this video, now you have some understanding of this laptop. As usual, we concluded 3 pros and cons for you. Here are pros. First, upgraded cooling. Pro 15 2021 has H35 and MX450. Cooling is poor. This year, with 10-core CPU, RTX graphics, and well-tuned thermals, it made great progress. Second, screen is good. This is a 3 Kelvins, 90 Hz screen. Brightness and response time are better than other competitors. Accuracy is also good, although without OLED and wide gamut, it should be enough for watching video and Photoshop. Third, Pro 15 2022's card reader can reach 250 megs per second. After pros, let's talk about cons. First, not enough ports. This laptop offers 2 USB-Cs and 1 USB-A, but power has to take up a USB-C. For a large-size all-round laptop, this is not enough. Second, high exterior temperature under heavy load. Although new Pro 15's cooling improved, exterior temperature under heavy load is still high. Hottest keycap in the middle nearly reached 50 degrees. Third, awkward power brick. RedmiBook Pro 2021 has a 229-gram 2-prong adapter. 2022 edition specs are upgraded. Adapter is changed to 3-prong. Power increased to 130 W, and weight to 484 grams. For a lightweight all-round laptop, adapter's weight should also be considered. In my opinion, RedmiBook Pro 15's upgrade is considerable. 12 Gen CPU's single-core improved, offering huge advantage on content creation like PS&A. As an entry-level RTX graphics, 2050 is worse in power and performance. But it's still better than 1650 Ti, at least better than other new graphics this year. Should be enough for basic graphical tasks. In short, RedmiBook Pro 15 2022 has made great progress in performance and cooling. ADW is outstanding in competitors. In current RTX 2050 lineup, it's a very competitive all-round laptop. I will recommend this laptop to those who need good screen, certain performance, and portability. Alright, that's all for this video. If you enjoy this video, please hit like and subscribe. This laptop may be worth it or not. but we only have one single purpose: to share information and provide guidance. This is BIBA Review Studio. I'm Jawan. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.